welcome guys to my new video about my new shoes. Just kidding. We have here our Chevrolet Corvette Stingray, and bringing out our expert on it, we have Pops.
Hey guys.
So, Dad, what's some history about how we got this car?
Alright, so this car has actually been in the family since 1983. When I was a sophomore in high school, my father and I went over to the house of a detective who got this car actually from a crash scene. So the car was in a shambles when we got it, 3 different colors. We had a maroon hood, yellow lights, an aftermarket front end was put on. There was all kinds of body putty down here, and the back of the car was silver. So needless to say, there was a lot of work that needed to be done. We finally got it back to our garage. It was going to be the father-son project that, you know, everybody always wanted to do. And we got the hood up, we got our Chilton's guide out, and realized that whenever they put the new motor in, spliced everything together on the front end with red wire. Okay. So, you know, you would flick the left signal on and you'd get the right front turn signal and the left rear turn signal. So needless to say, the car was a shambles.
So we have no idea what engine is in this car. We know it's a small block Chevy. Other than that, we're not really sure. To open it, you pull this latch under here, and as with all Corvettes, it opens up the wrong way. And here it is. The sticker says 327 because this car originally had a 327, and we think it's around that displacement. I mean, what do we think, Dad? Like 350?
Yeah, we believe it may be a crate 350. But we're really not sure. We did try to look at some serial numbers on the motor to find out where it came from. But it does a pretty good job of pulling off the facsimile of an actual 327, 350 horse, which was actually the upgraded 327 for this year.
Right.
We've also got some aftermarket, well, not really aftermarket, but 68 valve covers on it, which have the breathers and help it to run a lot better. But the whole front end's been redone here, as you can see. The only thing that's original is the fan shroud, and we know that because there's some cracks and stuff where the fan bit into it during the accident.
This color is not 66 original, right?
Correct. We've done some research on that as well. The car was originally Sunfire Yellow. Now this is Silver Blue, which is really a color I believe that came out for 1965. Although I have seen a couple Corvettes in 66 with this color. We don't think it was actually a factory option at that time.
Yeah, everybody likes this color. I like this color. Moving to the interior, we have sort of a old airplane style looking one. We've had some work. So we actually painted the center console here ourselves with some, I don't know, flat back like spray paint.
Flat black spray paint.
Right,
Correct.
so this whole thing came out. Our Hearse shifter knob is crooked just because that's how it's tight. That's how it screws in. And also with our clock.
It's not the original clock that we have there. However, we take great pride in being able to say that we have a functioning clock, which very few of these cars do.
Right.
That's actually an aftermarket clock that was done for us by Corvette paramedics over on Route 206. They do a really nice job. They take out the entire structure of the clock and put a quartz timepiece in behind that and make it look like the original clock. So that actually worked out really nicely for us.
As I said when I was driving it, there's hardly any computers in here. There's no screens, there's no nothing. We do have flip-up headlights and an automatic antenna, but aside from that, there's really no electronics on here.
Right, so let's take a look at the interior. So if you take a look, it's basically a very simple dashboard, speed gauge, RPMs. You got some of the basics that you need in here as far as battery, oil pressure, and water temperature. One of the unique things here is this car was equipped with an AM/FM radio, and when you change the dial, you can see that it actually rotates around when you switch to from the AM to the FM. The mechanism actually rotates around, which is pretty cool. And it does have an automatic antenna, which goes up with a switch.
Right.
Very cool. Definitely a major attraction at parties. One of the other things that's unique to the 1966 era Corvette, or what we call C2 in this case, the 63 to 67 Stingrays, is the rotating headlights. They actually have small motors which work the headlight and can be problematic at times.
Yes, the left one I believe is slower.
They go up and down with a switch in the cockpit.
Right, so opposed to other cars that have flip-up headlights, these are actually just roll-around headlights, which is pretty neat.
There's actually a unique little part of this car that reminds you, if you leave the lights on and you rotate them down, there's a flashing light here that tells you, oops, you left your lights on.
So some unique features to distinguish this car from other C2 generation cars. This is a 66, and that'll run us through some of the unique features of it.
Right, so unique to 1966 here, as you can see, is this upright script on the Corvette logo, Corvette Stingray. And again, that was unique to 1966 as opposed to 67, where they did away with the logo altogether. In 1965, the script was more slanted. So if you come down here along the beautiful lines of our Stingray and take a look at the side gills, you'll see that they are 3 gills, somewhat wide. That is unique to 65 and 66. So that's your first indication when you walk up on one of these cars as to what year it might be.
And those actually let air inside the footwell, right?
That's right. There are levers inside that you can open, so they are functional and actually provide ventilation to the cabin.
It's pretty nice.
Coming down here to the interior, one thing that's really unique for this car, and we know that it was actually made late in 1966. If you take a look at the seatbelt clips there, you'll see that they're the satin finish with the bow tie in the middle. A lot of the ones this year were more like the airplane clips, which had just a center dot in the middle and opened like a buckle on an airplane, where these are actually the push button type unlatch mechanisms. When you come back here to the very rear of the car, take a look at the beautiful round headlights and rear lights. You wouldn't go to the back of the car to look at the headlights. You'll notice that the 2 inner circular lights are clear. Those are backup lights. This was the first year of the Corvette to sport the backup lights. And then in 1967, it was moved to a center light over top of the license plate. That's what makes the 1966 year really unique.
Also cool about the back of this car while we're here, the gas tank filler is right here in the middle, which is great because you can go to either side of the gas station, which actually is really convenient.
So this is one of the great American convertibles. To be able to put the top up, you need to flip up this back deck, which reveals the top stowed below. This pulls up, clips into latches here, flip up the back, close the back deck, and these pins go down into the holes in the deck. And that's what you do when it's raining.
And also on these cars, you can get a hardcover option, right?
Yeah, there is the option for a hard top, which this car did not come with. This is the original top, by the way. Since you're looking at the good side, that's good. Yeah, like I said, it is the original top.
It's pretty waterproof. I mean, it keeps most of it out. No, it's not recommended to drive this car in the rain.
We don't really know what size engine is in here. We don't know what horsepower it is. We know it sounds really good. We know it runs really well. And it's a lot of fun. So it's been in our family, like I said, since 1983. We've had a lot of fun with it.
Definitely.
All 3 of my kids, of which Eric is the middle one, are able to drive stick shift. They learned on this car, and they're all able to drive it.
First 4-speed, it has short throw shifting, pretty easy to get. Roll up windows, of course. There are no power windows in this car.
Nothing power. Actually,
no.
This car, when purchased, was a bare bones Corvette. Basically manual transmission, manual steering, manual brakes, no air conditioning. We believe it had the upgraded engine from 327 to 350 horsepower. The one interesting thing about this car, which is really fun, the one interesting thing about it is when you drive this car, you are driving it. You're actually a part of the car. There's really nothing else that takes your attention away because you're so focused on the driving experience. And that's what makes it really fun.
So with that being said, let's take it for a drive. Alright guys, here we are driving the Corvette. Oh, that's a nice dart. Check that thing out. So here we are. We're just taking it nice and easy around the block right now, because with old cars, you gotta let them warm up until you really push them. My thoughts driving the 66 Corvette. Now this is unlike a lot of cars from the 60s, especially from America. Most cars were gigantic with gigantic engines and could not turn at all. This car is quite different. It turns very well. The Corvette was more of a sports car than a muscle car, which is why I like it quite a lot. This car is probably the best handling car I've ever driven, aside from maybe a Focus ST, which is just so much more modern. It's not really comparable. But this car, of course, we have our small block V8, right? Chevy small block. Who doesn't like a Chevy small block? This is the best sounding car I've ever been in, let alone driven. This car is amazing. Make sure to check out my last video. I talked about engine note and how important it is. This car sounds so good. It's amazing. So we've got a 4-speed, short shifting Hurst shifter here. It can be difficult to find the gears, but you get the hang of it pretty quickly. So here we are pulling out onto some main roads. Of course, no power steering at all, no assisted clutch, no computers whatsoever. Haha! Oh man. This car is so fast. Like, you think it's an old car, okay, it's kind of fast. Not at all. This thing is so fast. Like, holy crap. I have no idea how much it weighs, but it's pretty light. I mean, we got a full fiberglass body, no computers, no batteries, no none of that stuff. It's just a lightweight chassis and a small block V8. Convertible roof. Driving a convertible is awesome, especially an old one like this. And even though we have no power steering, the steering's very light. Well, I wouldn't say it's light. It's not heavy at all at high speeds. It's very usable. We're just driving down, you know, normal speeds. I mean, we're doing like 35 right now. It cruises great. There are a bit of rattles, but that's expected with an old car. The downshifts, those are good. Hold on. The clutch is pretty heavy, but not like insane. It's usable. Here we go. Just listen to this V8. We have no air conditioning, of course. Who needs air conditioning? You got a convertible. At low RPMs, it just runs so smooth. It's also very easy to speed in this car without realizing. It's so fast, you drive it normal and you're going like way faster than you think you are. And being a convertible, you'd think it'd be windy in here, but really it's nice. They made it perfect. Like, my arm position, my seating position, it's not uncomfortable at all. I enjoy driving this car. It's not like a Countach or something where the steering wheel is like over there and the pedals are like over there. It's totally normal and really comfortable, actually. I love driving it. The steering has some play in it. I mean, you know, it can be kind of scary, but for the most part, it goes where you want it to. Here we are coming up on probably my favorite road near my house. We're not going to push it because, you know, we don't want to crash or anything, which it's a scary car when you push it, but as I said, handles very well. I mean, it's great. Very well balanced. At decently, you know, not crazy speeds. You're always in control of it. I mean, when you start to push it, that's another story. Up the hill, I mean, this engine makes so much torque. I started it in third once by accident and didn't even notice. It just goes. I mean, you make just so much torque at like no RPM. It's great. Chevy small block, man. Of course, like I said, you don't want to push it to its limits because this car has no stability control, no traction control, and there's not a lot of weight over the rear axle, so it can be scary. The downshifting works better than the brakes. The brake pedal can be a little squishy, but that's all right. We have a giant engine to slow us down. Once you get the hang of it, it's very easy to shift shifter actually works really well with shifting. The hood is very long in this car, but you don't notice it. It's really cool to see the haunches of the front wheels stick up, but the hood's not obtrusive. It doesn't block your view a whole bunch. The car begs you to go fast. The gas pedal, very touchy. You give it a little gas and you're accelerating. So most of the time you're either on the gas or on the gas. There's not really in between. Of course, this car is from '66, so we have lap belts. It makes you feel very safe. Shout out to my parents for being awesome and letting me drive the Corvette. Not every 19-year-old gets to do that. Our shift knob is loose, and this is the tighten position. So that's another little tweak of this car. Ooh, buttery smooth shifts. Oh yeah. The clutch is linear. There's no weird catches to it. Just a normal clutch, slightly heavier than your modern clutch. So just listen to that. It makes you smile, and that's the thing I love about this car. Here we are doing 35. In what car is it fun to go 35? In this car it is. You can just touch it and look. That sound is so cool. I love it. This car is exciting to drive at all speeds, no matter what. And that's why it's great. You don't need to be going 100 to enjoy it. Some of you are probably wondering what the top speed of this car is. And if you're brave enough to find that out, you're braver than me. I do not know the top speed and will never find out the top speed of this car. Okay? This was built in 1966. It was made to look good, not be aerodynamic. So you get a lot of front end lift at high speeds, and just, that means your steering goes, and yeah, we don't want to test that. The fastest I've been in it is probably, 65, 70, and it cruises at those speeds. It loves it. Anything over that, though, I wouldn't risk it. Alright guys, so we're pulling up back to my house again. Just a fun little cruise in this car. I never get tired of driving it. It's an awesome car. I know I like to tell you guys I love modern cars, which I definitely do, but this car is such an amazing driver's car. I love driving it every time I get to take it out. And it's a driver's car, it's not a garage queen. We don't let it sit in the garage all the time. So yeah guys, thanks for tuning in to today's video. Join me again probably next week. So yeah, that's a wrap. Ooh, dab on it.